Hello everybody and welcome Gossip Girls. How are we all this morning? Today I'm with Moragh Hunt from North West Numbers Ltd. Moragh is a very talented accountant, so we're going to hear some really great tips because obviously every lady in business needs an accountant. And you also do bookkeeping as well, so you do both sides of things, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll just say when you come on, just say hi. Let me know that you're watching. Just so we can start a hashtag live. You can say hashtag live if you like. And then if you're on the replay, you still count very much so. So if you've got any questions, just give us a hashtag replay so that we know that you've watched there as well. So, Moragh, it's great to have you on. Thank you for coming. So, let me know. So, what do you do, and how do you help people?
Okay. Basically, I set up my business last year. I'm basically a fully qualified accountant, and I've got 34 years experience, most of which has been in some kind of social charity, third sector giving situation rather than the profit-making situation. But about a year ago, I decided that I kind of wanted to concentrate on that sector, but also like the smaller businesses, because they're all they're a lot more interesting to get, because you get to know a lot more about the businesses. Whereas, you know, these big organizations, you kind of walk in, you're really an anonymous face. Nobody really wants to be talking to you. I mean, you're an auditor, you're an accountant, you know, nobody wants to know you. Really. You're never welcome.
You can't really get to know people like the ins and outs so much, can you?
Not on the big ones, which is why I prefer the smaller organizations. And then when I'm getting involved in like the charities, voluntary organizations, not-for-profits, etc., I love the idea that I'm making a difference. I'm not doing it direct necessarily through my figures, but the fact that I can help them save time, because if they give me their books to do, then they can go off and do more good stuff, or do whatever, you know, spend time with their families. This is with all businesses, whether they're small or the charities. I think I'm a bit of a mental health worker as well, really, because I can reduce stress as well, because a lot of people worry whether they're doing it right or not. That's
and with money, it's a big worry as well, isn't it? Like there's a lot of stress attached to money if it's not managed right.
Yeah, it can be.
So you can really handle that for people. That's great. So let's go into the tips. So what are your 3 tips for ladies in business today?
Okay, well, what I decided to talk about really is the most common mistakes that can cause big issues, basically. And you really have to kind of get on top of and make sure you're doing it. So, very big one: improper or poorly kept records. So basically, if you're not keeping your records correctly, you have no idea how well or badly you're doing. You have no idea what your cash flow is like, so you don't know whether you're going to survive. You don't know what you need to do to survive. You know, all of that is mixed up in your cash flow, your cash balances and your books and records, basically. So by not controlling those correctly and kind of knowing what you're getting out of them, potentially you're leaving yourself open to big problems. So that is a big one, really. One way that we make sure, that your figures are kind of complete and correct, make sure that you do regular bank reconciliations. Now, when I say bank, I don't just mean your bank. I mean, make sure that your records agree with everything that's in your credit card statements, your loan statements, any kind of statement that you can get, third-party statements. Make sure that you have everything they have in your books. And if you don't agree with it, because if you don't look, you're not going to know if they're expecting something different from you or something's gone through your bank. So by doing your bank reconciliations, you're making sure that folk are not getting into your bank and taking money that are not supposed to. You're making sure that you're recording every transaction, because I know even I go out and I have my cash and I'll spend lots of little bits, and then you forget what you've spent them on. Yeah. And all those little bits add up. So it can come to quite a big amount if you're not careful. So you need to make sure that you kind of like keeping an eye on all the little bits and making sure you reconcile with the third party, the banks, etc. And then the last bit, because I think quite a lot of people fall foul of this, make sure that you have a backup. Can you imagine you've done all this work, whether it's near year end or not? I mean, if it's near year end, then you're just going to go ballistic, aren't you, really? Because it's like, no time to recreate it. You know, make sure you keep a backup. If the worst comes to the worst, at least you can reinstate it in whatever way. So if you've got an accountancy package or your Excel spreadsheets, then obviously you keep a backup somewhere else, you know, whether it's on a flash drive or something. But even if you have, let's say you've done Excel spreadsheets and things, try and keep it on the cloud, because the cloud's not going to, you know, it's a lot less likely to be destroyed in the cloud. I mean, I know we're trying to make it like paperless, but I actually, you know, keep paper backups.
Yeah. At least it's there. At least you know where it is.
Because if you do not have that, I mean, usually you can recreate, because you should be keeping your receipts and everything anyway. So you should be able to recreate it. But you're taking a lot of extra time, and it might be time you don't have, depending on how late you've left it. You know, if you've got a deadline coming up. So yeah, those are the big three. I mean, there are others, but those are the big top three in my opinion. So
yeah, definitely that can help a lot of people. Like, imagine, like, you are going to save stress doing that, especially having a backup and things like that.
I mean, it's being preventative, isn't it? You're just trying to make sure that you're not going to have that.
So how often would you advise people to log things?
Well, what do you mean, as in backup? Or as
so anything that goes out of your bank, anything that you buy, anything that comes in, how often would you log it?
Well, partly it depends on how many transactions you're talking about anyway. Minimum, I would say monthly. Yeah. But obviously, the more transactions you have, the more often you should do it. The more often you should do your reconciliations as well, because it's easier to find. I mean, like some of the businesses, I used to do daily reconciliations because there was just so many transactions that if you didn't, you would just get lost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've only got a minute left. So how can people get in touch with you and have a chat further, maybe start using your services?
Okay, well, I have a Facebook page, North West Numbers Ltd, which you can book an appointment with. I have a website, www.northwestnumbersltd.co.uk, and I have an email account, accounts@northwestnumbersltd.co.uk. What I do is I give an initial consultation where we can kind of talk about what you feel you might need, how I might be able to help you. I mean, there are some people have phoned me just to kind of get an idea of what kind of books and records do I need to keep, etc., before they get, because they want to start off right. If you start off right, you're a lot more likely to continue correctly.
And do you serve just the Northwest, or is it anywhere in the country?
Potentially it's anywhere. I mean, I do actually have a client up in Scotland, because it is cloud-based, and a lot of what I try to do is have the clients keep information on the cloud. And obviously I use a cloud-based accounts software as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
potentially
great.
it's anywhere, even in the country, in the world, but I'm not that enthusiastic. You know, I'm not that not enthusiastic.
Brilliant.
I'm not that.
Yeah, not that global yet.
Yeah.
Let's stick to the UK first and foremost.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for your tips. That's been really handy and useful for people. And then the way that you explain it as well is really nice to hear. So it's not all technical. You don't feel, you know, like, oh dear, it sounds a bit too much for me. So
This is very much what I want to try and do. I want to make it understandable for folk. I do videos 3 times a week, where what I'm trying to do is kind of simplify and demystify terms, processes, etc. So I do them on my own website, no, on my own Facebook page, sorry.
yeah.
And it is about trying to, I mean, I've been told I'll probably do myself out of business, but I'd rather people felt more comfortable with accounts and understood, even if they're with another accountant, they understood what their accountants are talking about.
And it makes
really,
it more approachable as well, doesn't it? So
yeah, it's not rocket science. It's quite simple. You don't need
I
to
think
know.
it might be simple for you because you've done it for 35 years, maybe.
No, what I mean is, you don't necessarily need to know the nitty-gritty how to do the accounts as such, but you can get a very simple set of accounts just by keeping a record of all your receipts and then saying, right, this is IT, this is, and then if you just total up your IT, total up all, and then total up your sales, you've got a very simple profit and loss account.
Brilliant. Right, I'll let people to come to you and have a chat further to you about that. Thank you very much for your Tuesday tips, and thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care. Bye.